Welcome back to Timeless Steel Garage. This time we're going to continue final assembly on the Ecoboost DeLorean, make some suspension adjustments, roll the fenders. I don't know, see where the day takes us. But I got to get this thing ready to go to the dyno next month, and the test drives have been good and I haven't blown it up, so I'm going to quit while I'm ahead, get the car ready for the dyno, work out all the kinks and the tweaks I've discovered, and bring you guys along for the ride. Okay, so one thing, the major problem I had on the first test drive was vacuum leaks. I was blowing the vacuum line off the back of the intake, and I was blowing the PCV line off the back of the intake. I went ahead and fixed that without you guys, and I replaced this with a radium setup, which I'll post a picture in the video so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I have a cheap plastic slip fitting, vacuum fitting right here, and it blows apart. So for now I'm going to put a simple worm gear on this, but I'm going to replace this with a brass reducer with clamps to fix that. And I gave her beans last night. PCV system's fixed. This stupid vacuum joint right here needs to be strengthened. So that's easy, I'll do that. This is the next problem. Even after driving it to the alignment and driving it back, I took a passenger last night and the front end just settled significantly. I mean, I'm basically sitting on tire right now. The back is pretty good. I can still fit almost 2 fingers back there. First things first, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to do a half a turn up on the front, drop it back down, see where that gets me. If I have to, I might come up a quarter turn in the back. I do like the slightly raked forward stance on the car, so if bringing the front end up to clear the tire messes that up, I'll bring the back up just a hair. But once I get the stance back to where it's supposed to be, then I'm going to get the fender rolling tool out and I'm going to roll the front of these fenders, because this fender has like a ½ inch of metal sticking in there, and you can see I already sliced this tire up pretty good. Put a groove in the whole outside, did some cuts here, and I also had the same, actually a little worse on this side. Just sliced the groove all around the tire. It's not deep enough that it's a problem, but I got lucky. So I'm gonna make this adjustment, roll the fender, and make the DeLorean great again. Coilovers are easy, and KW sends you this little kit. You got your adjustment and your spanner wrench here, and then you just need a set of your own Allen keys to unlock them. But pretty simple. I always try to put the lock nuts in the same spot on each wheel once I count the threads and get the suspension height where I want it. So this is where it's sitting. So I'm gonna rotate this lock nut till it's facing exactly behind the strut, 180 degrees out, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and hopefully that gives us enough spring compression there that the front end comes up where we need it. Alright, I got her a half a turn on each side. It's not locked in. I'm going to bring down the lift and let the car kind of slam onto its wheels, even though the lift doesn't come down that fast. But let's see what we got here before I start rolling the fenders. I'm going to roll the fenders anyway, but oh yeah, you can see a half a turn. The front end of this car is so light that half a turn brought me right back up where I was before it settled. But let's put some weight on the wheels here. Let's see if we can get her. I like that. I like it a lot. I think I might even have to come up a little bit more. Before I do that, because I got the stance kind of back to where it was before. I tell you what, I don't know, I might have to come up just a hair. You see the gap in the back. Back is definitely lower than that. I don't think the car's sitting where it wants to be right now. Well, I hate to do it, but I think I'm gonna have to come up another quarter turn and then roll the fenders and see, because I don't want to I don't know, it's just too close still. I really don't know. I think I'm gonna come up a quarter turn, roll the fenders, and then drive it. And if it's sticking up too high after driving it, then I'll drop it back down a little bit. But yeah, you know what? Scratch that. Let's roll the fenders first. All this heaving and hobbing. Let's get to work. All right, we're back. Okay, you guys remember this from the shop Mercedes parts runner when I rolled the fenders. If not, if you're new to the channel, this is an Eastwood fender roller tool. It's a phenomenal tool. I mean, this is a body shop grade fender roller tool. DeLorean fenders, stainless steel. I'm going to tell you right now, heat is your friend, because stainless does not like to bend. You're going to have to get it hot. You really got to go slow. And I'm also going to warn you, this is a violent process. It looks very violent. You can watch this fender flex when you move it. It's going to freak you out. But the key here is to go slow, just work a couple inches at a time, get the metal really hot. But you can see there's a ½ inch of material here. And if you're new to DeLoreans, or if you're a DeLorean owner, let me get some light on so you guys can see. This is like surgical grade, slice your finger sharp. So you got to be really careful, and it cuts tires like butter. So if you're going as low as I've gone, you pretty much don't have a choice. But it's really not that hard. There's all kinds of YouTube videos out there with guys that are better than me at doing it. But you can see, I mean, how sharp that stainless is. It's even cutting into the wheel of my tool here. So take your time, get the stuff nice and hot, and work a couple inches at a time. And then once the metal gets over that initial bend point, like right here, you can see it started to bend a little bit. Once it starts going that direction, it's a lot easier after that. It's like here where it's almost bending the wrong direction, where you got to take your time, get it nice and hot, and start bending it. All right, like I said, I've been working the metal for like 10 minutes here, and I'm just now getting into the point where it's starting to go up and bend towards the direction I want. I've been working it. You can see how much this fender moves. It's a violent process, but takes a while. It's not overly complicated. You just got to take your time. This metal gets super hot. All right, guys, I'm back. So I'm gonna say right out front, if you've never rolled fenders before, I don't think this is a beginner project. You have to get the metal real hot, and you got to work sections at a time. You can't just try to flatten like the top. You got to kind of work the whole radius of the inside of the fender and gradually pull it in. You can see up top here, it's almost flat, not quite flat, U-shape, and then it tapers out to where it just bends in slightly at the bottom. So where the tires are going to hit the top here, it's almost flat, not quite. And then like right here, it starts tapering back out, and then I'd say it's about a 50% radius compared to what it used to be once it gets to the bottom. Same on the back. Now, you got to get the metal really hot. I don't recommend trying to go perfectly flat with these, because stainless doesn't like to do that. And I'll be honest, like flat right here, and I actually radius the fender slightly here. You can't tell, like naked eye, once I have both sides done, you won't be able to tell. I even radiused it just a hair right here. So if you're looking down from the top on a stock fender, it's almost flat here. So, but again, from back here on the side of the car, you can't tell. I just flared the fenders just a bit. But when you come over here to a stock side, you can see like right here is flat. So when you roll this lip here, it's going to radius this out just a little bit. Up top, you won't be able to tell at all. Right here, it'll radius this out a little bit. So if you're like me and you're okay with doing your own stuff and experimenting on your own thing, it's great. If not, I recommend, if this is your first time, to maybe ask a guy who's done a few fenders. Like I've rolled a couple cars, and this was still challenging for me. I would say twice the time on this fender as it takes on a normal fender. Regular steel, once you get it hot, it rolls really easily. This stainless is just, you got to take your time, you got to go slow. So turned out good. I'm going to drop the car down real quick, see what it looks like. You can see over here on the stock side. Yeah, and I think this is going to settle quite a bit once I actually drive it, but pretty much restored my two fingers there. And the best, I mean, the real reason that I did this is now if I brake real hard and this comes down and contacts the tire, that razor blade sharp fender is now up. So it's just going to kiss the fender and the car's going to come back up. But now there's no sharp razor blade flat edge for the tire to catch on. And you see I radius this a little bit so that when I turn the tire, if it does hit the fender, same thing, same in the back. But I'm happy with that, and I think now it's pretty much restored the height back to where it was. I think I might still end up having to come up in the front, maybe a quarter of a turn. But what I'll probably do is drive the car and then see where it's at before I make another adjustment. But right now it's about 2 fingers. Yeah, in the back's about 2 fingers. You know, I think I'll probably bring it up just a hair, quarter of a turn. But the back is actually sticking up. Like the whole car's got to go drive and settle down a little bit, and it's real close. So now I'm going to go do the other side. Like I said, I probably have an hour and a half in this one fender. Okay, I just want to show you real world application here. So if you look top down on this fender, I actually widened the fender just a hair, which is what I wanted to do. And when you come down on this side and you look down, you can see more rubber. Now, if I stick my fingers, now I measured both sides. I'm 23 1/4 to the bottom of the ground, this board here, which is the actual road surface, and the bottom of the fender. This side's stock still, and if I sit on this fender, it crunches my fingers between the fender and the tire. Over on this side where I've rolled it and widened it, put my hand underneath, sit on the fender, same weight, and my fingers never even touch the tire. So that's gonna be just fine on the height. I'm not gonna bring it up anymore. And you can see I've restored that pretty aggressive stance that on a stock car, you're gonna be cutting tires up and hitting the fenders all the time. So now I'm gonna move to the driver's side. Remember when I said that rolling fenders is risky? If you got a painted car, you're probably gonna crack the paint. And if you got a stainless car and you go fast, this is what happens. Did not heat the metal enough, got a little too aggressive, and it cracked. Now, upon further inspection, see I got a bunch of little wrinkles right here. This fender has been metal worked at some point. I did not realize it until I looked behind it after this crack. Somebody had taken some dents out of this and filed it and smoothed it, and I did not know. So as soon as I put pressure on it to roll the fender, it buckled on me slightly right here and cracked right here. So other than that, the fender's rolled, and these fenders are like $2,500. So instead of buying a new one, I'm gonna bust the TIG weather out here and fill this crack in, sand it smooth, regrain it, and run it. This little dents right here I might be able to work out a little bit, but yeah, simple fender roll turned into a little bit of body work. So here we go. Well, here's the deal. When it rains, it pours. It's raining cats and dogs outside right now. So today's goal was to get the fenders rolled on the car. I did get that goal accomplished. However, my driver's side fender now is damaged. Like I said, I found some dent repair, and when I tried to roll the fender, it cracked the fender, exposed these crinkles in the metal here. And my weld repair, I don't know if it looks better than a crack or worse. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna bring the car up a little bit, even though I rolled the fenders. And you know, if you're gonna learn new skills, if you're gonna push yourself, you gotta be willing to do it on your own stuff, and you gotta be willing to fail. So today was partial win, partial fail. But I wouldn't change a thing. I don't know if I'm going to end up changing this fender or just roll with it as a battle scar. Either way, that's an expensive mistake. It's a couple grand for one of these left front fenders, so I might just run it. But yeah, not the outcome I was looking for. Anyway, learn from me, and I hope you enjoyed that misery, and we'll see you next time on Time with Steel Garage.